Good morning or good afternoon. Hello and welcome to the Omni Coalition News Show, aka TOCNS. This show is an amalgam of strange, weird, bizarre, off-the-wall, and otherwise things you don't normally see anymore from most news sources these days. During a time of political overabundance and divisiveness, we present you with more unifying topics to discuss. For links to those articles, the music done by Carrera, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Xander, and of course you are you. Today is Freya's Day, aka Friday, March 17th, 2023. So let's jump into let's jump into the news. I'm still on the history show today. From Audio Central, this 90-year-old is the world's oldest male bodybuilder. Wow. 90-year-old Jim Arrington got into bodybuilding when he was 13, and he has been keeping at it ever since. At 90 years old today, he holds the Guinness World Record for oldest active male bodybuilder. Jim Arrington discovered bodybuilding when he was 13, as I said. He walked into a drugstore and saw these big, bulky guys on the cover of a muscle magazine. He immediately ordered a copy of a 25-cent book by George Jowett, a Canadian strongman, and started doing the exercises detailed in it using his father's 3-pound steel balls. They certainly weren't the most useful bodybuilding tools, but they helped him put on more than 10 pounds of muscle in a few months, so he kept going. He has been going at it ever since, and even though his body is much more fragile now at the age of 90, he has no plans of ever stopping weight training. This is cool. Quote, "At my age, your body's a lot more fragile," Arrington told Men's Health last year. "You have to be more careful when you're training, and you can't abuse it. Your tendons have a tendency to want to detach. In the past 5 years, my left bicep broke loose, and I had a little bit of a tear in my right tricep, too. So you can't do things you used to be able to. It's really disheartening, but it's important to keep soldiering away," end quote. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No pain, no gain. You gotta feel the burn, man. When he started bodybuilding, Arrington dreamed of becoming Mr. America one day, but as he grew older, he realized that he didn't have the genetics for it. He has small bones, ligaments, and muscles, but he never let that discourage him. He kept training, even in his later years, when many other bodybuilders gave up on their passion because their bodies couldn't keep it up. In 2018, at the age of 85, he was awarded the title of oldest active male bodybuilder by Guinness Records, and he has held it ever since. Yeah, well, now he's 90, what was it, 93? Yeah, no, now he's at the age of 90, so. But yeah, dude, keep it up. Like, for further reading on this article and any other ones that we are going to be reporting on today, please refer to the underbar in the description below. Anyway, we're going to move on up to more from Audio Central. Connecticut man has been walking barefoot for over 20 years. I can't imagine that. Joseph DeRuvo Jr. from Norwalk, Connecticut, gave up on footwear over 2 decades ago after getting painful bunions on his feet, and he has been walking around barefoot ever since. 59-year-old Joseph DeRuvo Jr. doesn't remember the exact day he decided to shun footwear for good, but he recalls that it was about 5 years before the first Apple iPhone came out in 2002. He had developed bunions on both feet, which hurt when he went jogging in tight running shoes. A doctor recommended surgery to relieve the pain, but before being scheduled for the procedure, the former photographer decided to go barefoot because of the pain in his feet were so intense. As he considered the surgery, DeRuvo Jr. learned that the screws that were to be inserted into his feet contained a metal he was allergic to, and he also recognized that he was feeling much better. In the end, he passed on the surgery and decided to adopt a barefoot style. Well, clearly you weren't wearing the correct shoes. So, quote, the tactile feedback just kind of makes everything else going on feel a little bit smoother, end quote, Joseph recently told the New York Times. But simply shunning footwear for good isn't as simple as it sounds. We may be born barefoot, but as a respectable adult living in the U.S., you're kind of expected to wear shoes when going out. Which is why Joseph DeRuvo Jr. and his wife, Linny Ecker, get thrown out of a lot of places. People apparently don't feel comfortable around someone who is barefoot, even if they are otherwise acting completely normal, and they will complain to the management or of whatever establishment they are in. Yeah, I agree with them. No shoes, no shirt, no service. Like, find other shoes, dude. Like, it makes no sense. You're not the only person in the entire history of all time to ever have to, require surgery for feet. You're the only person I've ever heard of needing that. That's ridiculous. Just find a different pair of shoes, dude. Enjoy your splinters. Enjoy your toe jam. Enjoy your, unsanitary lifestyle. I'm going to move on up. More from Oddity Central. This beast of a car is powered by a World War II plane engine. Whoa. The Beast is a legendary 1970s muscle car powered by a Rolls-Royce Merlin V12 airplane engine that can produce over 750 horsepower and has a fuel consumption of around 2.35 miles per gallon. That is trash. The story of the Beast goes back to 1966 when English engineer Paul Jameson decided to find out what would happen if someone put a tank engine in a street-legal custom car. Jameson created a custom rolling chassis for the car and fitted it with a Rolls-Royce Meteor tank engine before turning to transmission expert John Dodd to commission an automated transmission for the unique car. Dodd became intrigued by Jameson's wacky idea, so when its original creator put the project on hiatus for a while, he ended up buying it from him and completing it himself. It was a labor of love, one that eventually became known as one of the most impressive automobile projects in English history. After completing the transmission for the car and ordering a custom fiberglass body with the hood, almost as long as the rest of the vehicle to accommodate the giant engine, John Dodd completed the Beast in 1972. The car's unique appearance and technical specifications made it somewhat of an oddity that drew the attention of both passers-by and seasoned motorists. It was featured on television shows and at various events around Europe, but in 1974, when returning from a trip to Sweden, disaster struck. The one-off vehicle caught fire while being transported from a car show, and the damage was so extensive that Dodd had no choice but to rebuild the whole thing virtually from scratch. He did just that, this time fitting it with a Rolls-Royce Merlin V12 airplane engine, which had powered the Spitfire and Hurricane fighter aircraft during World War II's Battle for Britain. Alright. So, that's awesome. So, too bad that the original car got destroyed, but, hey, when you get knocked down, just get back up again, So, yeah, please go to, the link in the underbar of the description to read the rest of this. This is an awesome story. Let's move on up. More from Oddity Central. This bird's mating song sounds like a combination of cow moos and chainsaw noise. What? I'm going to have to hear this. So, the capuchin bird, an exotic bird found in the jungles of South America, is famous for having one of the most bizarre-sounding mating songs in the entire animal kingdom. Capuchin birds have a rather peculiar look. They have light brown plumage that becomes bright orange on the belly, and a bald vulture-like head covered in blue skin. The contrast between its rich plumage and its bare head is striking and makes for an unusual appearance, but you'll forget all about its weird look when you hear its mating song. Calling the sounds coming out of this bird's beak during a mating season a song seems like a bit of a stretch, but it sounds nothing like the melodious chirping of a nightingale or a mockingbird. Well, let's hear this. Huh. Well, that's intriguing. There's another one here. Huh. Well, alright. Let's move on up. We spoke about a 90-year-old, now let's speak about an 82-year-old from UPI. 82-year-old Virginia woman is the world's oldest female hockey player. Whoa! At 82, she's on the ice. Wow, that is incredible. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Linda Sinrod of Lorton, Virginia, was a figure skater before becoming enamored with hockey at the age of 35, when a friend asked her if she wanted to try the sport during a visit to a frozen pond. Sinrod enjoyed hockey so much that she became a founding member of the first women's hockey team in the Washington, D.C. area. Sinrod played for 10 years and then left the team for over a decade before reconnecting with her former teammates. Quote, after retiring, I looked up what my old teammates were doing and found one was coaching the Prince William Wildcats team, so at the age of 67, I decided to join them, end quote, she said. Sinrod's teammates asked her to leave the Wildcats at age 75 because she was struggling to keep up with them. She didn't want to give up hockey, so she started playing in a women's league that would choose teams twice a year. Quote, I have always been the oldest person playing, so I have always been curious as to how old the oldest female hockey player was, and eventually as I got to be 80, I checked the Guinness World Records to see how the oldest was, Sinrod said, and of course it was her. So, Yeah, at 82. Dang. More from UPI. Lottery winner seeks anonymity in a town of 27 people. Yeah, good luck. A $250,000 richer Colorado woman is trying to avoid the limelight after the big lotto payout, but that might be hard given her circumstances. Joni, she asked officials at 100 times the cash bonus draw in Colorado not to use her last name, is a regular player, but her biggest payout to date was $500. Okay, so we're looking for a female named Joni. Okay? There's enough information there to find her right there. You know, she wants to be anonymous. Why did she use any of her names? Like, move out immediately. That'll change Wednesday when she won $250,000. Joni found out she was the winner in a slightly unusual way by certified mail. Lotto officials said from their Facebook account she was still suspicious that the whole thing was a scam, so she was pleasantly surprised to walk into Fort Collins Claim Center and find out she really was a big winner. Alright, well, good luck, Joni, in a town of 27 people looking for a female named Joni in that small town. So there you go. Moving on up from more from UPI here. Snow piles up to top of chairlift at California ski resort. Wow. Look at that. This winter has been a boon for ski resorts in California with plenty of powder to go around, and at one resort the snow has reached new heights. Over 600 inches, which is 50 feet, of snow has fallen on the slopes of Bear Valley Resort since late 2022, more than double the 300 inches that typically fall at the resort in an entire season. Bear Valley Resort is located about 80 miles east of Sacramento in the Sierra Nevada, with the summit reaching an elevation of 8,500 feet. After the most recent atmospheric river, a member of the Bear Valley Ski Patrol was able to touch the top of the chairlift with his skis planted on the snow-packed slopes. So yeah, good luck getting to the top of the mountain, you know, with that. So, wow. Huh. That is wild, dude. That is wild. Mammoth Mountain, located about 80 miles southeast of Bear Valley Resort, joined the 600... Okay, let me try this again. Mammoth Mountain, located about 80 miles southeast of Bear Valley Resort, joined the 600-inch club on Monday as the most recent atmospheric river unloaded heavy snow over the Sierra Nevada. This season is just the third time on record that Mammoth Mountain has measured over 600 inches of snow. Snow records at the resort date back to the winter of 1969 through 70. Oh, wow. Moving on up, more from UPI. Florida professor aiming to spend 100 days in undersea habitat. This is interesting. A University of South Florida professor has spent the past 16 days in a structure located 22 feet under the sea, and he's planning to remain until he has a total of 100 days. Joe Duitry, an associate professor at the University of South Florida, is living in an underwater hotel dubbed the Jules Undersea Lodge, located 22 feet below the surface in a Key Largo lagoon. Key Largo. Duritry said he is aiming to remain for 100 days and break the Guinness World Record for the most continuous time spent in an underwater habitat. The current record is 73 days. That was set by at the Jules Undersea Lodge in 2014 by Bruce Cantrell and Jessica Fain. Alright, well, good luck to you. More from UPI. Border Patrol finds $67,830 of gold in a package valued at $125. What? Border agents at the Port of Cincinnati discovered a package filled with $67,830 worth of gold in a shipment heading for Hong Kong with a declared value of $125, officials said on Wednesday. Oh, so they're underselling the gold straight to China so they can be wealthier than us. I see what's going on. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said officers selected a package for an X-ray examination on March 9th. The package originated from San Francisco and was addressed to Kowloon, Hong Kong, in China. It was declared to contain clothing valued at $125. Wow. So, quote, after noting density anomalies during the X-ray screening, officers opened the shipment and found 4 gold bars and a box of loose gold concealed within articles of clothing. End quote, the agency said in a statement. Another quote, the laboratories and scientific services confirmed the gold was approximately 98% pure, leading to import specialists from the Center for Excellence and Expertise to assess the value of the shipment at $67,830. So there you go. Like, right there. Oh, that makes me mad. Whoever was sending this should be put into prison and tortured. Habeas corpus thrown out the window. Cruel, unusual punishment thrown out the window. Torture this guy. Moving on from AP News here. Germany detained 42 in an effort to prevent attacks on ATMs. German police detained 42 people as part of a crackdown on gangs suspected of blowing up cash machines, authorities said Friday. Incidents in which thieves blow up ATMs and then make off with the cash, usually during the night, have become increasingly common in Germany in recent years. There were a record 496 cases last year and a 27% increase over 2021, according to the Interior Ministry. Well, all this is telling me is that these have to be like some sort of government hits, because in Australia they're trying to get rid of all the ATMs. The whole world, they're trying to turn everything into a cashless society. So by doing these criminal underworld stuff, having them target ATMs and everything, it gives the politicians the justification to do exactly this, to try to arrest people, to try to get rid of ATMs, to prevent the crimes that they themselves are causing. They make the problem, and then people eat it up, and then they make the solution, which isn't really a solution. It just makes everything worse for everybody. So, over the past 3 days, police in 7 of Germany's 16 states conducted searches on more than 5,300 vehicles and 8,000 people. The ministry said in a statement, it said 42 people were detained, but didn't specify what they are accused of. There you go, right there. You can't accuse them, when they're the ones who are doing what you ordered them to do. The aim was to raise the pressure on preparators active across regional and international borders, the ministry said. Quote, anyone who blows up cash machines risks the life of people who are involved, end quote, Interior Minister Nancy Faeser said. All right, well then stop hiring people to blow them up to push your cashless society agenda. She added that further incidents can be foiled only by effective and wide-ranging preventative measures, including increased video surveillance, systems that dye stolen banknotes, and reducing cash stocks at individual sites. Right there. Reducing cash. Right there. And surveillance. Surveillance state Big Brother is always watching, and he's taking your money. In many cases, cash machines and bank foyers are now closed to customers overnight. Alright, so what's the point of having an ATM then? So. And then, last but not least, from Ripley's, surgeons remove unexploded grenade from Ukrainian soldier's chest. How did it get there? Did he swallow it? What happened? Did he get hit by an RPG, just didn't explode? When it comes to rare and risky medical procedures, they don't generally threaten the lives of medical personnel. But such was the case in January 2023 when doctors in Ukraine undertook the nerve-wracking process of removing a live ordnance from the chest of a wounded soldier. Located beneath his heart, the VOG grenade required careful handling and plenty of finesse, so officials called in the heavy guns. Andriy Verba, one of the nation's foremost surgeons. Here's what you need to know about the incredible procedure and why it deserves a spot in the medical history books. Yep, I agree. So, an operation with some history. So 2 things. Please go to the underbar of the description for links to this and all the other articles. But I believe that shall conclude the show for today. Once again, you can check the underbar of the description for any links you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. For your dose of different, odd, and otherwise unknown news, the show, I gotta edit this. We stream the show every Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, which is 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, until you catch us next Tuesday, or if you're interested in some history, we have a history show every day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time. Until then, or until whenever, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!